and welcome back. After all your requests, here I am about to make a definitive, no-nonsense Frostmage DPS guide Season 2. Well, before I get into that, let me talk about my Season 1 performance. At my highest, I was world top 216 Frostmage for Mythic Plus, but I stopped pushing towards the last 2.5 weeks and ended up around like 320, I believe. In the world, which is like 0.19 percentile, so let's call it 0.2 percentile of all Frostmage players. And here I am today about to make this guide. So the things that I show you in this guide will be viable probably until the end of the expansion. Once patch 10.1.5 hits, however, Frostmages will get a rework done, so their abilities and rotations and all these things are going to change. But don't worry about it, I will make an updated guide when that happens. All right, now let's get into this. So first things first, let us talk about stat priority. Just like the previous season, on paper, it appears that the stat priority is the following: Mastery, Critical Strike, Haste, and then Versatility. So you can take this as a general rule of thumb. However, I say that you should definitely use Simulation Craft and Gear Compare whenever you get a new piece of gear to see if it's going to be a DPS increase or not. Second thing I want to mention is that I checked world top 20 Frostmage players for Mythic Plus, and this appears to be their stat distribution. Almost all of them have anywhere between 34% to 38% mastery. They have anywhere between 19 to 23 haste, and they have anywhere between 22 to 25% critical strike. Let us quickly talk about gear. First things first, the enchantments. On your neck piece, you should have the enchantment that gives you 3 slots for sockets. On your chest piece, you should have the enchant Waking Stats. On your cloak, you should have the enchant Graceful Avoidance. On your braces, you should have the enchant Devotion of Avoidance. On your weapon, Sophic Devotion still appears to be the best enchant, so go with that. For your leg piece, you should go with Frozen Spell Threat. For your feet piece, either go with Watcher's Loam, which gives you stamina, or if you think you're lacking speed and like having a hard time dodging mechanics, go for speed. On your rings, you should either have Critical Strike or Haste, depending on your stat distribution. For your gems, you need to have 1 skillful Illimited Diamond, which can be crafted by a jewel crafter through the crafting order system. And for any other gem slot, I like to go with Sensei's Netherite, which gives you mastery and crit. You may want to use another gem that gives you mastery and haste, but that all depends on your stat distribution. One thing I have to mention about gear is that you want to have Alchemical Flavor Pocket equipped on one of your crafted items. Now that we have the enchants out of the way, let's go into more details. So number 1 is, of course, the tier pieces. You should have 4 pieces of the new tier set, giving you all these nice bonuses, which I will talk about in a bit. Then, of course, one of the most important things is your unique embellish slots. For Mythic Plus players, the Azurwave set appears to be the best. So either go with Azurwave Mantle, the shoulder piece, plus Azurwave Slippers, the feet piece, or go with the chest piece plus the feet piece. This, of course, depending on the rest of the items that you have. I personally go with these 2 because I've already obtained the 441 tier piece. For the raiders, the best option appears to have 2 crafted gear on you with the following embellishment called Shadowflame Tempered Armor Patch, which gives you this stacking damage bonus. The reason why it's good in raiding is you will constantly be DPSing for the entire duration of the encounter, so this stacking bonus will add up quickly. Most players that I have seen go with crafted waist plus crafted shoulder, or crafted waist plus crafted headgear. This all depends on what kind of pieces you have for your tier slots. One thing I should definitely mention is how to use your Spark of Shadowflame in the most efficient way. Now, if you're a Mythic Raider or somebody that's going to spam dungeons and are able to obtain a good weapon and get it to 441, the best option appears to be either like fully upgrading your Azurwave double set, so for me the shoulders and the slippers, or if you are a raider that's going to use Shadowflame Armored Patch, it is best to upgrade those 2 items at first. And tertiary, get a weapon to 447 to get that nice intellect bonus. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, let us talk about trinkets. For determining which trinket is best for which kind of encounter, I will be using the data that was generated on bloodmallet.com on May 27th. I will leave a link down in the description section below so that you can check out this website and see if any of this has changed. For single target, the best trinkets appear to be the following: Ominous Chromatic Essence, which drops from the boss the Forgotten Experiments in the new raid. Second best trinket appears to be the Vessel of the Searing Shadow, which drops from the boss the Amalgamation Chamber. The third best trinket appears to be Narax's Spike Tongue, which can be obtained by completing Neltharin's Lair. Some other trinkets that are worth mentioning for single target is Spoils of Neltharis, which can be obtained by doing the new dungeon Neltharis, but it's an used trinket, which I personally do not think are great for frost mages. And lastly, Whispering Incarnate Icon. When all the members of your group, DPS, healer, and tank, equip it, appears to be in top 5. For AOE trinkets, the situation appears to be a little bit interesting. According to simulations, I don't know why, the item called Heatbound Medallion, trinket that drops from world quests, I believe, at the moment appears to be the best trinket for AOE. But I think this is due to a bug or something, because I've seen people use this item and deal more damage than what it says on the description. Second is Ominous Chromatic Essence, which I've explained before. Third appears to be the max item level Iceblood Death Snare, which drops from Senath the Cold Breath from the previous raid tier. But again, it's a used trinket, so I personally do not like it. Fourth appears to be Spoils of Neltharis, which again I have explained before. And fifth appears to be Idol of Pure Decay, which can be obtained by doing Brackenhide Hollow on Mythic Plus difficulty. Personally speaking, these simulations appear a little bit weird. What I myself will be aiming for is getting the Ominous Chromatic Essence and Idol of Pure Decay. Before moving on to single target and AOE rotations, one thing I quickly want to mention is the consumables. For Season 2, there are no new consumables, and the following still appears to be the best. For your rune, go with Buzzing Rune. For food, go with Grand Banquet of the Kaluak, which gives you intellect buff. For the file, I like to go with Ice File of Corrupting Rage. Your healers may not like it, but I personally found to do more DPS when I'm using this in actual encounters rather than compared to whatever simulations say. For your healing potions, go with rank 3 Refreshing Healing Potion. And for your power potion, go with Elemental Potion of Ultimate Power. Okay, here's the reason why you are here for the rotations. Let us first start with the single target talents. So for single target, I like to use the following talents. And the idea is the following. So during the entire encounter, we want to have Icy Veins up. There's two ways for this. One, which is our main way of doing single target DPS, is using Frostbolt to shatter Flurry. So how does this work? You use Frostbolt and spam Flurry, but Flurry travels faster than Frostbolt, so it hits the target first and then Frostbolt hits. And number two is using Winter's Chill, which are these like little flakes that appear after a flurry. Whenever you hit a target with Winter's Chill on it, it gives you a 10% chance, which is part of your 4-tier set, of getting a Brain Freeze. What is a Brain Freeze? Brain Freeze is this like proc in the middle of the screen, which is this like improved version of Flurry, and it's, I believe, 65% stronger than a regular Flurry. So normally the idea is the following. Frostbolt into Flurry. You do this. If you get a Brain Freeze proc, you again keep Frostbolt into Flurry. If you don't get a Brain Freeze proc, you use 2 Winter's Chill, right? These 2 Ice Lances after Flurry, like these 2 snowflakes. These 2 snowflakes also increase your Icy Veins uptime. So all of this sounds a little bit complicated. Allow me to do a rotation. First things first, what I want to do is I want to align my Icy Veins and the Rune of Power that comes with the Icy Veins with my potion and Primal. As the standard opener, I will also use Frozen Orb. Potion, Icy Veins, Bloodlust, Frostbolt. 1, 2. I did not get a proc. Again, Frostbolt. 1, 2. I got a proc, so I didn't need to do the second one. 1, 2. But it's Sleight of Hand. 1, 2. I ran out of Rune of Power, cast it back again, spam Frostbolt until I get a proc. 1. I didn't need to do that 1, but it gives me Icy Veins uptime. So you need to watch out for the Icy Veins. If you feel like Icy Veins is low, you need to do 1, 2. If not, just keep doing this. If I'll get a proc, 1, 2. Again, I didn't need to do that 2 because you see I have Icy Veins and I have Icy Veins talent as well. So I kind of use extra ice lances, which I didn't need to do. So it's a little bit hard to optimize, but that's the general idea. Now that we have talked about the single target talents in rotation, which are mainly used for raiding, let us talk about AOE, which is the main thing to use for Mythic Plus. So here are the talents that I use. The right-hand side is the definite article, like it should be used for any AOE encounter. For the moment, let's ignore the left-hand side because there's like some utility talents and different combinations, which I will talk about in a bit. For AOE, here is the priority list. So you want to cast Blizzard and Frozen Orb on cooldown. If you have main freeze procs, which are those like improved flurries, thanks to our 2-set bonus, any type of flurry is now an AOE talent. So we want to prioritize those empowered flurries. If not, we want to use Fingers of Frost procs, which are these like improved Iceland's procs. At any other time, if you don't have any of these things, neither Blizzard, neither Frozen Orb, nor any of these procs, we want to use either Shifting Power, if we have it, or a regular flurry. And very, very, very rarely an Ice Nova, which is kind of ineffective up until 7 targets, I believe. But if you have nothing, just go for it. If you happen to use like a regular flurry, follow it by 2 ice lances, if like neither of these other talents are available to you. This sounds a little bit complicated, so let me do a rotation for you. Hopefully you'll get the idea. I will start with the opener Icy Veins Bloodlust, go into a Frozen Orb, and then Blizzard. During a regular encounter, if Frozen Orb is on cooldown, you may resort to hardcasting Blizzard, because Blizzard basically gives you cooldown time reduction on the Frozen Orb, and in return, Frozen Orb makes Blizzard instant cast, so it's this nice little loop. But with this many target dummies, I don't think any of these like special scenarios that I mentioned will come into play. So let's give it a go. Let's use our defensives as if this is like an actual encounter, and let's go. Of course, during this whole thing, I'm getting my cooldowns back really fast. I use Rune of Power. Like, I don't think this is going to happen in real life. Now, what I do is I cancel Shifting Power into a Blizzard or Frozen Orb, because I can make use of that. Use Rune of Power, Frozen Orb, this. Fingers of Frost procs, a regular Ice Lance. I have Icy Veins back. I have Blizzard back. Everything is kind of complicated during this whole shenanigan, because there's so many targets that I'm getting all my cooldowns back really, really fast. It's probably not going to happen in an actual encounter. Lastly, let us talk about our utility talents. So if you have Entangling as one of your affixes, you want to be using Energized Barriers. Some other very useful talents are Dragon's Breath, which is your main CC against targets that are CCable. So this is a sort of AoE interrupt for most cases. Blast Wave works as a knockback, can be useful during Spiteful Week. Sometimes it interrupts casts of certain mobs. Ice Nova basically roots all your targets, can be used as your AoE filler, can be very useful in Spiteful Weeks. Sorry, same goes for Frost Nova, which is a weakened version of Ice Nova. Other useful talents, of course, Ice Barrier, which is your main defensive. Mirror Image, which gives you this 20% damage reduction, so can be very useful during boss fights. Similarly, Greater Invisibility, it gives you a 60% damage reduction. Spell Steal is an amazing talent, which you can use during many, many Mythic Plus encounters. You basically steal a beneficial effect from the mobs, whether this is a shield or some haste or damage increasing ability. Another useful talent is Remove Curse. For example, the last boss of the new dungeon, Neltharis, gives all the players a debuff, which can be removed with Remove Curse. But please discuss with your other ranged DPS, such as priests or your healer, about talenting this or not. Sometimes you may already have 1 or 2 Remove Curses in the group, so you may not need to use it at all. And perhaps most importantly, your best utility talent is Alter Time. What Alter Time does is basically saves your HP and position in space. And then you go elsewhere, you do other things, you have low HP or something, and you go back and get your HP back, go back to the position, dodge the ability and whatnot. But please be careful. If you happen to use Alter Time at a bad time and you do not have /cancel Alter Time, you may end up with like a backfire. Like you may have, let's say 70% HP, you use it, right? And then you do other things, I don't know, stuff goes on, your healer got you back to 100% HP. If you allow Alter Time to bring you back to 7% HP, that's a healing loss. So you don't want to do that. You want to cancel Alter Time in those scenarios. Okay, folks, that's it for today. I really hope that you enjoyed this quick little guide. I will leave various links down in the description section below. Please do not forget to check those out. Amongst those links is the channel Discord link. Anything in this video is confusing for you, or you have some other question that I did not make a point of in the video, please do not hesitate to contact me there. Thanks so much and stay frosty. Before I go, I just wanted to mention that only a very small portion of my viewers have actually subscribed to my channel. If you are interested in seeing more DPS guides, more Mythic Plus runs and strategies, gold farms and gold making guides, or you just happen to like my voice, then please consider liking, commenting and subscribing to my channel. Thanks so much and see you again next time.